Hi everybody, here's Christian, and welcome to Teamworkcast.
Hey everyone, it's Shepard, and I hope you brought your appetite. We're here to feed you. Feed you monsters. That's why we hunt them.
Well, this is Cthulhu, and I thought you were just going to tell them, feed them the knowledge that they need to survive, but...
You
gonna
like
feed the
twist
monsters.
knowledge, don't you? Don't you like with the elder, just elder god things? Hashtag elder god things.
Yeah. Just, I'm teaching them twisted knowledge so that they go insane and I devour their souls. What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all.
How about designing a deck building card game that could actually be completed on a normal difficulty? That's what I want to know. That's what
I beat it on normal difficulty.
No, you didn't. You dirty dog. You beat it? No, you didn't. You're just saying that to hurt me.
So you guys are talking about what's the name again?
Arkham Horror.
Arkham Horror. I want to hear all about it right after we begin this quest. So what is the quest today?
The quest is the Wild Gunman. We're going to hunt all the large monsters, which is Nargacuga, Plesioth, and Legiacris. That's from the Bullet Technician. I'm a bullet researcher by trade. Yes, we exist. By studying the unique ranged attacks of monsters, I can craft better tools to fight them. By helping me, you'll be doing yourself a favor. Why, yes, I would.
Bullet researcher.
Yep. Got all the research, all those shots, man.
Shots.
Shot through the heart.
Oh. Arkham Horror. It is a card game just came out. There's so many Arkham type of games that FFG released. I'm just getting so confused. There's like the original Arkham Asylum.
Arkham Horror. So you have Arkham Horror, which was the original.
Yes.
Then you have Elder Sign, which is the dice game.
Yes.
Then you have Eldritch Horror, which is a world-spanning version of Arkham Horror, effectively.
That was the one I was thinking about.
And even though it's bigger, it's actually easier to play.
Yeah. There used to be the Call of Cthulhu card game.
Yes.
But that was discontinued, and that was like a confrontational style game. Then it was replaced with the new Arkham Horror Living Card game, which is a cooperative Arkham Horror game, card game. And that's all of... Oh, then you can throw in Mansions of Madness 2, which is essentially Descent or Imperial Assault.
Isn't there a pandemic style?
That's done by another company, but yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Okay, so the current one, that's the newest one that you're talking about. You played it together with Shepard, right?
Yep, we played it together. Yep, we played it at the end of our PAX trip, and then last weekend we played a bunch of games on Tabletop Simulator.
So how is it?
Really good. I mean, I'm always a big fan of cooperative style games in general, and so it does. We built first we were using just kind of like a standard set of decks, but the way it's set up is there's a bunch of different class types or character archetypes. So you've got Guardian, Survivor, Rogue, Mystic, and Seeker.
So maybe for people who are not like aware of how this works, so this is a deck building game where your deck is your character, so to speak.
So you pick a character, and that character has rules for how you can build the deck. So for example,
which cards can go in and
right. So in the base game, the base characters say you can use all cards from your class, your archetype essentially. Plus, you can use neutral cards and cards of levels 1 through 2 of one other archetype. And so then basically you build your deck around that.
If you played Magic, it's like you can use all the cards from your color.
Yep.
Right.
And then, but there's also like a neutral card that everybody can use, and then there's like certain cards like if they're not too powerful, then you can splash them in.
Right. So like it'd be, if you were looking at like it from like a Magic perspective, it'd be like you can use green, olive green, plus you can use red, but you can only use common and uncommons of red.
Yeah.
Plus, you can use all artifacts.
Okay.
And that would be how you build your deck. And you build a 30-card deck. Then each character has 2 unique cards, one positive, one negative.
Ooh.
And then you add in an additional common negative card pool card.
So
and so your deck size is 33. So there are things that will do things like when you draw them, bad things will happen. Sometimes it's a case. Sometimes it's a case of like, oh, this monster spawns in front of you, so you have to deal with that.
I always get that guy. I always get that guy.
Other times it's like, oh, you have the Necronomicon, and you have to spend sanity to read through it. Otherwise, you just can't use a book. You lose one of your slots.
Yeah, but when you're done reading it, you just throw it out.
Yeah.
Who needs this? Reddit.
Yep.
The movie's better.
Except for like if you throw it out, well, if you get rid of it and then you go through your deck, you can end up getting it back. Yeah. So the deck kind of works as like your basic abilities and stuff, and then if you run out of cards and have to reshuffle your discard, you take sanity damage essentially. But it's set up to be really story driven, in which like the scenario has an intro story, and then there are two pathways, one for you and one for essentially the forces of evil to go through.
So how does the story work? Because in Magic you build your decks and you play against each other, but now this is cooperative. So how do you play a story in this game?
So they have what's called the act decks, and so like the first scenario is like a ghoul encounter type of scenario, and you all the investigators gather at the house, and then you go to the study to talk about what's going on, and then suddenly the door disappears.
Yeah, that house is pretty screwed up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and so you're stuck in a study where there's nothing, and then at this point, that's how the scenario starts. And then there's 2 act decks. One that progresses after like 8 Doom tokens are pressed on it. You then progress to the next story element for that, or you have to collect enough clues, which you gather by using actions in the study, which is where your characters are located.
I just want to point out, I drilled its ass to death. All right, that's all.
Nice.
That's if that happened to me, I would be also lying on the ground like this.
It would be.
And so,
okay, so how do you progress? So you have like a deck, and once you achieve a certain thing, how do you progress to the next story?
The game's going to keep moving on whether you want it to or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the way it works is the act cards, and like I said, there's 2 separate piles of act cards. Once you read the conditions to progress either the bad or the good, you then flip that card over, and it tells you the next part of the story. In the case of like if you're the investigators and you investigate the study, you find out that underneath your carpet there's a door. Your door is underneath your carpet now. What? And so you open up the door and you fall through into your hallway. At which point then the study becomes inaccessible, and there is a glowing barrier on the front door of the house, and you have to figure out how to get rid of it by doing things in the cellar and attic.
Okay, so they're basically like other cards that you have, which are basically like your story, and the cards tell you how the story progresses.
Yep.
And you manipulate them, turn it around, and draw new ones, I guess.
Yep. And then once you finish going through the decks, like it'll tell you like the last card of each pile says, "All right, the game is over. You got resolution 1 through whatever," and then you reference the campaign guide and find out what you do at that point. Cool. And then there's times where you will gain new cards you get to add to your deck. You might have just like lost something that you make note of for a later scenario, and those events carry over into the next game.
But the campaigns aren't designed to be like super long. It's like you should really be able to get through them in one gaming session. Yeah,
each scenario takes about 45 minutes to an hour. The base scenarios in the base game, there's 3 of them, so you figure about a good 3-hour, 4-hour session, you could probably go through the starter scenario completely. And they're always set up to where like regardless if you win or lose the first two things, as long as your character's still alive, you continue on.
Okay.
Until the very end.
You got to try real hard to kill your character one of the first two.
Yeah, it's pretty. Your characters are pretty sturdy, and if a character does get killed off, you can still just pick another one of the characters and make a new deck and continue on. So it's not a huge deal, but it's really good. It does a really good job of portraying the story narrative. And being like a very good cooperative game. All of the classes have unique roles and abilities. Like the Survivor thrives off of failure. They get bonuses when things go wrong, and that's if you're known to be a survivor, that's
good class for me.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like the Seeker, which is like your librarians and stuff, they're all about being like super good at investigating, which is something you have to do. But the trade-off there is they're not all that great at fighting things. So
yeah, obviously they
someone else has to.
They are only later on though. In the beginning, until they get their murder stat going.
They have ways. Like all of the classes have ways to deal with everything if they are well equipped or well stocked enough, but everyone specializes in something. Like a Seeker will never be as good at killing things as the Guardian, for example, but they'll still be able to take care of things.
They get some pretty decent really stuff. Good. I like the Seeker.
And then the other characters from like the other expansions have build their decks completely differently. So like even though they're the same type of character, their decks won't play anywhere near the same, and then the unique abilities of each character change up how the decks will perform too. So there's a lot of interesting mechanics for it.
That's I heard I listened to some reviews by Shut Up and Sit Down, and they were like over the moon with that. They were like really.
Well, the one interesting thing about their review, and the thing that they didn't, because you kind of have to play it a lot to get this. Like, the game itself is really the deck building. I mean, you make the choices and stuff, but almost unilaterally in the game, you're going to die your first time through going something.
Oh, wow.
Until you really... Oh, hey, there's a Plesioth here. Until you really, really learn the intricacies of what your character is, what makes them good, and then not only that, but, like, what's the campaign you're walking into? And how that's going to play off, you're going to be going through it a couple times. I mean, at this point, Cthulhu and I have gone through the campaign almost 3 times, and I still don't think we have it, and we dropped the difficulty down.
And it also, I think that a lot of it comes down to, like, we're still trying to understand, like, how...
Yeah, you really need a clue getter and a monster smasher. Yeah. You need to have those two defined roles at least.
Yeah, it's a game that technically supports 1 to 4 players.
Yeah.
I would say 3 is the minimum where you're going to have every tool you will ever need.
2 is enough.
Two is very much the bare bones. You can pull this off.
Yeah, but it's in a way it almost limits how you can build your deck, because it's like one person better be awesome at getting clues, and the other person better be good at smashing faces.
So you can make it with 2, but then everybody has to have fulfill a specific role. You have to be like on point with your deck building.
Yeah. If you had 3 people, that a third person could do something a little goofy.
Yeah.
You could have kind of a stranger thing. Like maybe they could focus on getting resources and handing stuff off to other people.
Did you say you could do something like a stranger thing?
Yeah, well,
they could do a
Stranger Things, like the TV series.
Oh, yeah.
Stranger Things.
Yeah. The Mystic class specifically has a lot of things that they'll do that can effectively be like straight out of Stranger Things. Like, oh, we're gonna pull more monsters out of the deck possibly so that we can progress faster. So
that seems like a very wow, like drinking from a fire hose class.
Yeah, it's like close to the flame or something. This name of the ability, like flying too close. It's really good. Like I really enjoy the game. It's done in the living card game format, much like Netrunner. So like they always add stuff. They've already added. So the starter set is basically an intro scenario of 3 quests. The Dunwick expansion adds in a massive campaign, which I think is up to 6 scenarios now, and will end at 9 total.
No, but you say 3, but it's really just that one thing that we went through, right? Cthulhu. There's not anything else.
Yeah,
other
well,
than
it's a 3-part. It's one scenario in 3 parts. Like they call each of the portions of that as a scenario. Basically, it's a 3 scenario campaign. You go through it in like scenario 1, 2, 3 order. Dunwick is the same thing. It's going to be a total of 9 scenarios where you're going through 1 through 9. But the events from scenario 1 could have a drastic impact on scenario 9. So because you have a campaign log, you keep track of
right.
everything you do. So
that'll make it a 2 to 3 game campaign.
Yeah,
which makes it's really painful when you lose. And the sad part is when we were playing through and we were both doing okay, you just get hammered by some terrible card draws and some. I mean, there's nothing else to say for it. And so, by the time the monsters showed up, you're not ready. I was not ready.
Yeah, it's the same thing with even in a competitive format like Netrunner. Sometimes you just draw bad cards.
Yeah,
and
tell me
about
that.
I do not need this now.
Yeah.
This is not helping.
But yeah, I enjoy it.
If you played with more people, it would be less of an issue. Because if you had 3 people all stacked in the first area, and one was a guardian, and and of course, you could, you learn to think about how you can build your deck differently to kind of mitigate those draws. And also, we didn't utilize the mulligan rule that time either.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just don't know until you play the campaign, what am I going to need?
Yeah, it's kind of difficult for newcomers to judge if a starting hand is good or not.
Well, even each time you go through a campaign, you're going to want to know going into that 3rd scenario, or whatever we're going to call it, that you're going to want to have some ability to fight some dudes. Because we got a lot of dudes we had to fight.
Fighting dudes.
I mean, it makes sense.
So, general question, for people who are okay, this sounds amazing, I'm in. So let you say okay, three people is a good number to attempt this with. Do all of these 3 people need a separate starter set, or is just one set enough for 3 people?
So the base set will only support 2 players. So if you're going to have more than 3, I would say 2 sets. I own 2 sets for myself.
It's cheap though, wasn't it? It was $30 or $40?
It's $40 for the base game. Now you could probably get away with making custom decks for 3-player game with 1 expansion if you just wanted to, or with the base game if you wanted to.
You could proxy
experience.
Too. There's nothing wrong. If you
it's just like Magic, where it's you proxy that drag card that costs $200.
It's just the base game. Literally, the only limiting factor from doing multiple, more than 2 decks from the base starter game is there's not enough neutral cards to really spread out, and the neutral cards really provide that extra cross-class support that you wouldn't normally have. And so that's...
I imagine the deck building gets more and more difficult the more players.
Right, or if you happen to have 2 characters who are pulling cards from the same pool, you run out of cards real quick. So, 2 is a good... Two base games. If you pick it up and you enjoy it, get a second one, and then you'll be set from that point over. Pretty much. It doesn't look like you're going to need to be building... multiple big expansions after that. It's looking like they're including pretty much just the right amount of cards you need to play all the decks afterwards, unless you, of course, really wanted to double up on.
Unless everybody's
cards,
playing a Seeker, or everybody's playing a Guardian, or something like that.
Yeah, but that really should
that
not
would be
the
weird.
case.
That would be you don't want to have that kind of team.
In fact, I think even in the rule book it says that you should only have one of each archetype character.
That seems kind of ridiculous idea. Cool, guys. That seems amazing. I would love to check it out one day. I'm going to see if maybe one of my folks are willing to dive into this. So we're going to move on.
We'll just steal you on Tabletop next time.
Huh?
We'll just steal you on Tabletop Simulator next time.
Nice.
I don't like the Tabletop Simulator. I don't know, cardboard. I want to smell the cardboard, you know?
I know that feeling.
I just
You want to feel the scan lines wrap around you.
Yeah, it's like the scan lines thing. It's the same thing. It's like it doesn't feel right in a tabletop simulator. But anyway, we're gonna move on, and I hope you'll join us next time around where we talk about some other amazing things. I'm not quite sure what yet. Wish you good luck and good hunt.
Doom, doom, doom.
Inject the cardboard anally.
What? Whoa. That went somewhere real fast.
Well, yeah. Squatty Potty!
What's that smell? Oh, Squatty Potty. Brought to you by Squatty Potty.